The next podcast for R081 focuses on the 5 pre-production documents that you need to know in detail. Those pre-production documents are highlighted in L081 of the specification. So you can see here from Learning Outcome 1 that you need to understand the purpose and the content of pre-production documents. And those pre-production documents are a mood board, a mind map, also known as a spider diagram, a visualization diagram, storyboards and scripts. And in the specification it is detailed what the purpose and use of each one is and the content of each one, some of which are more detailed. You've got the first 4 there and the 5th one on that page, so it's worth having a look at the spec and getting yourself familiar with that. Pre-production document number 1 is a mood board, and the purpose of the mood board is to generate ideas and concepts for new media products to stimulate creativity and innovative approaches to creating something new. The uses of this is to plan the style of a product and then to have a visual tool as a starting point. It's about taking old things that are already in existence, and using those to help you create something new. And that's done through the stylisation of the final product. It's used in the initial stages of the planning process, and generally it's not really shared with the client. It's more about the initial design team. It can be digital or it can be handmade. Digital mood boards can be created on anything, such as Word or PowerPoint or Photoshop. They're the sort of common ones that you would expect. Handmade ones are generally done using sort of printouts and cutouts and such like, and it might be that you have a sort of cork notice board that you pin ideas to, or it could be you cut things out and stick them on a larger piece of paper. Either's fine, it doesn't really matter. And mood boards, if you take for example the EcoFest model assignment in R085, you might have lots of pictures to do with the environment, but then also lots of pictures to do with music, and you might group those together to help you come up with ideas and add additional content, and that content we'll go through in a minute. The important thing to remember with a mood board that this isn't about showing what the final product will look like. It's about finding things that would help you create that final product. So there's a range of content which could be included on a mood board. You might include keywords, so things that when you think of a concept instantly spring to mind. So if I was doing EcoFest from R085, I might think of things like wind energy, solar energy, bins, Greenpeace, those kinds of things. And then to take it on to the music side, I might think about sort of the bands, camping, that kind of thing. It might include font styles. There are fonts that are appropriate for different target audiences and different products, and you might find a range of font styles that you could use, thinking about websites like dafont.com to help you. It might include colours. So if you were doing something for a rock band, your colour scheme might be sort of dark blues, dark purples, blacks, dark greens, those kinds of colours. But if it was for children, it might be more primary colours and brighter. We've discussed how images can be used and fabrics can be used as well. And I think the use of fabrics tends to indicate fashion, but it's common with other things as well. And for any digital mood board, you might include sounds and videos as well, though obviously that can't be done if you're doing it by hand. A mind map or a spider diagram is the second pre-production document that we would look at. Its purpose is to show the content of a product or to organise ideas in a visual way. So again, if we take the website idea, you might have a mind map that has a branch for each page and then nodes and subnodes, which are detailing the possible content of that page. Again, it's a visual tool and it breaks down ideas into smaller areas. So for example, if you were going to have a website, you might have a node that says branches, and then a node that says images, and then go on from there to say images of wind turbines, boxes for recycling, the bands, etc. It can be used to plan different products in detail. So once you've got a sort of vague idea from your mood board, you can then start to narrow it down a little bit more. And again, it can be done by hand or by using mind mapping software. So specialist software includes things like OpenMind, but you could do it on Word or PowerPoint or even Photoshop if you wanted to. So again, there's content that can be included on a mind map. You've got your central idea in the middle. So for example, if you were doing R082 Energy Matters model assignment, you might put Energy Matters DVD cover in the middle as your central idea. The nodes are then the first level that come off that, followed by subnodes, and your subnodes might also have subnodes, and they are connected by branches. By nature, a mind map includes text, and it can include some pictures as well. It just depends at what level of detail you want to go into. Visualization diagrams are a rough sketch or a drawing to show how something should look when finished and to plan the layout of it. Its uses are for still images only, for a graphic or an advert, a DVD cover, a web page, those kinds of things. They are static, okay, and visualization diagrams are usually shared with the client. So for example, if you were doing a DVD cover, you might take the visualization diagram of the full DVD cover, show it to your client, have a discussion, revise that, show them the next second version of it, and then they will go on to tell you to create it. Visualization diagrams have content such as images and potentially a large number of images, the logos of the companies if that's relevant, colours either annotated on or physically coloured in, fonts, text and annotations. Those annotations would provide detail. So for example, if you had an image of something on a website, you might say this image would be sized at this, or a DVD cover, you might annotate on the width and the height, or say this will be pink because. So those annotations are important. A storyboard then is to show how a sequence will change over time and to provide guidance on how a scene should progress and then be edited. Again, it's a visual tool and it's used for moving things, television scenes, animations, those kinds of things. It is not a static thing. Storyboards show movement, unlike visualization diagrams, which show something that is static, that doesn't move. It's used to show how things change over a period of time. Those timings could be really long. It could be an hour, but it could just be a really small period of time, and that will determine how many different sections you need. The longer it is, the more sections. And it's used by the director and the cameramen and even the actors to create the planned scene. It allows for things to be visualised so that the final product reflects what was in the designer's head. Storyboards have a large range of possible content. Camera types, camera movement, camera angles, lighting, locations, times, descriptions, all of those things. And it is a complex piece of planning. Scripts are used to give direction and dialogue for the characters to follow in a scene. Those characters can include people like a narrator, which is essentially a character. And it can be used to plan more than just a scene. It could be used to plan several scenes. It could be used for play as well. It allows editing to take place more effectively because of the content, things like background noise, locations, those kinds of things. The locations are usually annotated there. You might see an annotation that says INT, which means interior. That would then be followed by a specific location, such as living room, kitchen, that kind of thing. And it allows for rehearsal and practice where appropriate. Scripts contain some of the same things as storyboards, but not all of them. And you need to learn the difference between the two. It does allow for all characters to be included and show exactly what is said or heard when. So this is the January 2014 paper, and you can see that it starts off with the first question, which is describe the purpose of a mood board. So in the earlier frames we've talked about what the purpose is, and it's a 2-mark question. So the ideas for answers from the mark scheme are that it's a visual tool, or it shows the feel, flow and look to assist in the generation of ideas. And the guidance very clearly states there that it's about the purpose, not the description of a mood board. And this is backed up by the examiner's comments, which say that for question 1A, the question asks about the purpose, not its contents. And that's a distinction that you've got to make. You're looking for why it exists, what does it do, rather than what is on it. Question B says state 2 items that could be included on a mood board. So all it's asking, because it's a 2-mark question, is give us 2 items. And you've got there in the mark scheme photographs, fonts, colours, graphics, and that's just a small range. Question C asks for 1 item of hardware that can be used to capture the content of a digital mood board. And that's about actually capturing the content. So it does say a scanner, a visualizer, a camera or a webcam. And in the guidance it also says accept smartphone. We all take photos on our smartphones now. However, the distinction there is a smartphone, because a normal phone doesn't take pictures, it answers calls. And then D is explain 1 way a mood board could be used for the documentary film about winged breath. The important bit here is this. This is a vocational paper, so this is asking in context. Explain 1 way the mood board could be used for the documentary film about winged breath. The mark scheme makes the following suggestions. The colours used, so that gives a feature of the mood board. The colours reflect the nature of the band. And there you've got your context in band, because whatever colours you put on there will reflect the assignment. The images used will show the rock image of the band. You're not going to put pictures of dinosaurs and elephants and clowns, because that's not what the band is about. And it does say here the answer must be in relation to the context of winged breath. And that's backed up by part D here of the examiner report. It's about applying it in context. And it does say that learners struggled, so candidates didn't do very well at this, because it's not about something random. It is about the rock band, the DVD documentary. And it does say, interestingly, that a large number of learners just repeated what was seen in part A. So they just gave the purpose again. didn't say how it was used. Moving on to then June 14, these are the opening questions again. This time it says identify two purposes of a script. So where the previous paper asked for the purposes of a mood board, this one is a script. And you've got here 1 mark to say provided lines for the characters or to set out what the narrator will speak and provide details of expressions or actions. Part B says to tick items that will be in a storyboard. So essentially that is the same question as part B there. It's just asked in a different way. And you've got 6 options there, 1 mark if you get it right, no marks if you get it wrong. And then again, the next question then is explain why a storyboard is a suitable pre-production document for the computer game's animated scene. The mark scheme says pictures of the characters will make it easier to visualise the situation, to provide information such as timings for the scene. So again, it's in context, it's given a feature of it and then why that feature is needed. So essentially there, you've got the same questions, just asked in a slightly different way. Be careful, because just what is asked in part A for a script doesn't mean that part B will be the same. It could switch, so take very good care to read carefully.